The concept of video game design is an interesting one, right? And it's interesting for a couple of reasons. It's sort of like if you looked at it in this way, right? The way video games are made, the way video games are designed is every time you bring out a game, you're playing a game within the game. So you're making a video game. Let's say, for example, this was your first video game, right? Video game number one. Made the public realize. So if we say this is public perception over here, so this is public, right? So the public is here, and this is games made. All right. Public perception versus games made. First game you make, if you're lucky, it goes much higher than that. But let's say you're not lucky. This is about where your game is. This is the first game that you've made, and that's your public perception right there. All right. Public perception. Now, there's another game that the game company is playing. This is a bit more of an offline game, shall we say. And that is the Goodwill game. Right. Now, the Goodwill, we should actually say, there's a thing that comes with gaming. It's called the Goodwill Bank, right? Now, the Goodwill Bank is a very interesting phenomena in video games because every single time you create a video game, you are depositing money into the Goodwill Bank, money in the form of player goodwill. How do players feel about your company? Now, after your first game, since it was a relatively decent success, you might get +2 player goodwill. Just a random number. +2 player goodwill. Now you bring out the next game. The next game pushes you up even higher. This is a really good game, right? This is game number 2 over here. And for this one, you actually get +6. So now you're at +8 already in the player goodwill bank. Let's say you bring out a third game and it goes really well. Fuck, you seem to be learning. You seem to be doing everything well. And we go and we say, right, that actually brings you to a +8. All right, now we're cooking with fucking fire because we're now at +16 player goodwill. Now, let's say game 4 comes out and game 4 is a dud, right? Game 4 really doesn't do well. Game 4 is Mass Effect Andromeda. That's really bad. Now you lose 8. But remember, you still have +8 goodwill. So your next game may still be good or bad, depending on the game. And you could save this. Let's say the next game is also bad, not quite as bad, but it's kind of bad, right? So now you lose, say, 2. Well, you still have +6, right? It's a slow road down. You can gain a lot of goodwill in a very short period of time. Losing that goodwill takes a while. What does goodwill in gaming actually mean? What does it refer to? Well, it refers to when I hear of a game made by X company, do I trust that that game is going to be good based on the name that is attached to the game? So in the past, whenever people say there's a new game coming and Blizzard is making the new game, what would all of us say? Oh shit, it's going to be good. It's Blizzard. Do we still do that today? No, right? Nowadays, whenever Blizzard announces a game, all of us are pretty much like, well, I hope it's going to be good, right? I hope they've learned from their mistakes. I hope the game is going to be good. That's because while Blizzard still has some goodwill, their goodwill is fairly low, right? It's a fairly low number. So players aren't that hyped to get the new Blizzard game. But when Larian Studios announces a next game is going to come, what are players going to be like? Fuck, it's going to be better than Baldur's Gate 3. Like, it has to be, right? They've learned so much with Baldur's Gate 3. I can't wait to play this game. Why? Because Larian Studios' goodwill is over 9,000, right? They have over 9,000 goodwill. So players are more than happy to take a chance on Larian Studios, no matter what it is that they're going to be announcing next, because they've deposited player goodwill with every game that they've released.